This is Amy from paperandspool.com, and I'm back here with day 2 of my December daily. And as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff pulled out, and I'll kind of walk you through what I have here and what I'm going to change and how things are going to work. So to start with, I have my photos and journaling ready here. It printed kind of crooked, but I'll cut it straight. So yesterday I ended up going to the mall and I did a little bit. I had a return to do and I got something and I had some Starbucks. So my day 2 story is going to be about that because it's nice to be able to do something that was from the day, so that's kind of fun. And then I also have, Max brought home in his school pouch yesterday this great piece of artwork, which he says is of his dad trying to hang an ornament getting burned by the Christmas lights. And so he's saying, hey, which was super cute, and I wanted to include because that kind of ties into what I was talking about with my journaling on my day, about having the freedom from dropping Max off at full day school. And so I wanted to include some of his schoolwork in here as well. So what I did is the picture itself was a little too large to be cut down to 6 by 8. So I just photocopied it, color photocopied it with a slight reduction. I think I reduced it 75% and cut it out 6 by 8. So I'm going to put that on this side and I'm going to do a little bit of writing. I think I might put like a small card on it or something like that. And then I'm also going to include this on the other side. And so I'm going to do a bit of stamping today as well. I've got all kinds of stuff happening. So because the album is bulky and I really hate the idea of getting it dirty, I am going to take out my pages so that I can work on them separate. And you can see that I did have a lot of stuff kind of in the pocket for what I thought was going to be my day 2. But now that I have a different story, I'm just going to kind of punt that down the field a bit and put it over to another day. So I don't want to be too tied to what I had down in the foundation pages. So I'm just going to take those Christmas tree photos out. And I'm also going to take this because that is going to go with the tree photos no matter where they end up, because I know that I want that together. So I'm going to keep my gold 2, and I'm going to cut out what I've got here. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and just trim. My printer does this. I don't know if you have the same thing with your printer, where sometimes the feed mechanism, the little thing that holds the paper in, gets kind of askew. And so then everything will print crooked because it pulls the paper in crooked. So I just try to adjust it with my first cut and hope that that one's straight and go from there. It was mostly straight-ish. Now, I'm going to cut this in a different order than I might usually. I'm going to get that 4x6 photo out first. And then I'm going to get this 3x4 photo because I'm thinking that over top of the journaling, I'm going to try and do a bit of a flip up. And because it's at the top of the pocket, I'm going to want a little bit of extra room to allow that to flip. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Although these page protectors are pretty close. So I am just going to, I'm going to cut it, I think, exactly where I can build that flip. So I just gave myself a little notch, and then I can line that up here. So I wanted to put the number on top of this journaling, but I want to be able to read the journaling as well. Like, I don't want it to be unreadable. And now that I have this photo, I'm going to embellish it, so I'm not going to do anything with that just yet. But once I'm done this page, I'm going to go back to day 1 and I'm going to tack the top of that one down so that I don't end up with, like you can see, this is pretty floppy right now. And even as I've been holding it one way or the other, it kind of opens up, and I don't want that to continue. So I will tack that down to make sure that it stays solid. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm thinking of using this transparent polka dot. Now it's a pink polka dot, so it doesn't exactly match, but it kind of just reads as neutral right now. So I'm going to use that pink polka dot. I've got the polka dot in the cup, and I'm going to put the 2 on top of that and be able to flip that up. So I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to use this same washi, or I was thinking about, I have this Nutcracker washi. I don't know if I want to add that much pattern in. I might just stick with the stripes that I've been using. I also was thinking about adding this star. I do kind of like that. Don't know if I want to go super fun. Oh, that might be fun to do. But maybe, because I'm going to have this one here as well, I might save that for on top or in the corner. Oh, I kind of like the in the corner. I also had this piece that I was considering using, this holiday cup from Jessica at Colorcast Designs. And while I love the piece, it's just kind of the wrong size for what I've got going on here. It would do better on a bigger spread, so I might save that for another day. All right, I'm gonna try and get myself focused here, and I'm gonna start with my stamping because I do want to do that. And I did already test my stamping, so I know that it's going to work. I tested it, I can even show you here on a strip. I tried a couple of different ways. I tried the letters askew, kind of like the Starbucks letters, but I didn't really love that, so then I straightened them out. I'm using this alphabet here, which is from, I think, Ellie Studio. It is the Stanley Jr. alphabet set, and it has a solid and an outline of the same font, which is really fun and easy to use. I like when you have this, I've had several other solid and outline ones, but never of the same font, so I'm excited to try this one out. So what I'm going to do first here, I did clean this so that I could just kind of line it up. And I am using the Stamp Perfect, which I know you can't get anymore in the States. And they only sold it for a limited time here in Canada. But honestly, it was so cheap. I got it at Michael's. I think it was $20. And I'm a horrible stamper. I tend to make a huge mess when I'm stamping, and I have found it's just an amazing way to really be precise with stamping, because that's what I want from stamping, but it's never been something that I've been able to achieve with just blocks. And it might be just due to the fact that it's on that kind of plushy surface there, but I've also found it really gives a good quality stamp. So I got my outline ready on a block just because I knew I wouldn't be able to switch them easily or carefully without getting my fingers all inky. Maybe you can. You might be awesome at stamping and never get your fingers all inky, but that is not me. So I'm going to try to offset this a little bit. Aha, there we go. So I've got my stamp on there. So that's going to go up here. Oh, I love it. It turned out so good. And so since I started using, I've had this Stamp Perfect for ages. I think I've had it for 2 years. And I really only started using it regularly in the past 3 or 4 months. And honestly, it has changed the way I feel about stamping. In the past, I was just a stamp collector. I would just kind of buy the stamps that I really liked and thought I would use, and then never used any of them, which I think is kind of a trap we can all fall into when we're buying supplies. But now I can say that I really do love including stamping on my layouts. So I am going to stamp one more thing here on Max's little picture that I photocopied. So remember, this is a copy of the original. It's not the original. I'm going to put the date on, and I have here my date stamp. This one I did not test, so if this one goes badly, you might see me pause the video and print off another one, but I think it'll be okay. So I was wanting, oh, maybe down here at the bottom. This is a good. Max is usually really good about placing his date on his artwork. They get really into that in grade 1. I don't know if you have a grade 1er or if you've been around a grade 1er recently, but they're all about the calendar, they're all about the date. But this one was undated. I'm not sure, he didn't leave a date on there, so I just thought I would put a date on. And I also wanted to include, I think, a little bit of journaling here too, but I'm not 100% sure about what format that's going to take yet. So I'm gonna just keep working on what I've got going on here. Okay, so I tried a couple of things that I did not like, and I have come back to, I'm going to repeat the repetition of the stamping over on this side. I'm going to hand write my journaling on this one, and I'm going to have the same stamped title. Oops, T slipped. Okay, so now that I've got my words stamped on here, I'm just going to, so I'm going to journal this the exact same way that Max described the art to me earlier. Okay, so now that I have my journaling about the artwork completed, I am just going to try and add, because I have the repeating star over here, I'd like to get a star onto this side as well, and I think it will go down here at the bottom. There. So after all my fiddling, it ended up being pretty simple, not that complicated. The one little flip up over here for the day 2 so that you can read the journaling, and then a pretty basic 6x8 on the other side. So that's what I've got happening here. I'm going to toss it back into the album, and I will hopefully see you back here for day 3. Thanks for following along with me, and I hope that your own December is going well and you are enjoying your December daily.